Hello everybody, thank you for joining today's webinar. What we're going to go through today is how we can trigger an approval based on a line item. This idea I got from actually a customer, or I was at a customer group or a partner, and they gave me the idea and they said, Rosie, if you can show us how can we set off an approval based on a line item. Okay, so that's what we're going to go through it today. Let me just really quick. So we want you to have control about your data in there. That gives you a lot of control. We're going to build a validation, and then we're going to set up the SAP approval. You most likely know. Okay, that will really help you avoiding mistakes. The users won't be maybe making so many mistakes, and that saves you a lot of time, and you can be more productive because you don't have to do journal entries or whatsoever to correct the data that's in SAP Business One, and that's the goal. Be more productive, save time by setting validation, and make sure the data is correct you put in the system. So what we're going to do in the system, we're going to create a user-defined field. And if you look on the bottom, I have it, it's circled, and we're going to make an authorization UDF. And based on an item, we're going to switch it to yes. And that Y will kick it off to the approval. So if a certain item is on this purchase order or a sales order, it's up to you. We'll probably use purchase order today. For example, you do not want the user order this item unless it's really, really necessary. So maybe you want to set an approval because maybe you want to push a different item more. I want them rather to order a different item unless it's really, really necessary. Or even on the sales side, if you maybe have an item, I really don't want them to sell it unless it's really necessary because you might want to move to a different item that's very similar and you want to push that more. Okay, so let's go in the system. Here is SAP Business One, and I'm going to open up the purchase order. And I'm going to choose a vendor in this case. And let's do the user-defined field. Let's move it over to the main field. So I'm got it displayed. I have it already created, the user-defined field. And all it is, it's called authorization, yes or no. Okay. If you don't know how to create a user-defined field, you would go under Tools. Oops, if I find it, Customization Tools, User-Defined Field Management, and you go to Marketing Documents, and on the title, because on the title are the user-defined fields. They're over here to the right, and you see it right here, Authorization. And if I click Update, all I did is just give it a name and a title, and then in the description and value, I just put N and Y. You can put yes and no. It's up to you. And then I have a default value. I have it set to no, the default value. Okay. So what we're going to do with the B1 usability package, we're going to move this user-defined fields to the main screen. What you do is you right-click, you go to the B1 usability package and add this UDF into the main screen. Then the B1 usability package will ask you, would you like it to put it below or above a field? Let's put it below and OK. And let's stick it right here by the owner. And here it is. So I have it in the main screen. That's where I need it to be. So now what we have to do, we have to set a validation. If a certain item is in this purchase order, I want it to, I want to get a message or I want to trigger approval in our case today. You can set a message too and say, hey, there's an item, I really don't want you to use it. And then you can say, you can have the user say, okay, yes or no, he still wants to continue or no, or you can block him. But in our case, we're going to trigger an approval because I want somebody to approve it for me. So I'm going to right click, B1 usability package, and I'm going to add a validation, okay, to this screen. And I'm going to say when I am, let's do other event, so we get the validation screen. Okay, here it is. So we're going to call it authorization on item A00004. Okay. And it feels in my form type. I don't know how familiar you are with validations. We do have a lot of videos out there on YouTube, a lot of e-learning videos on validation. So it feels in my form type. My form type is 142 because I right-clicked straight from the purchase order, and that makes it nice. Do it right from the screen because it fills in some information. There we go, purchase order AP. Then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to click item 1 here. When I press that item, I want it to check. So what that means is if I click on the add button, my validation, I click the add button, I want it to check my the data for me. So if I right click here, and you see copy system information, I know that this is item UID1. Make sure you have view system information checked. When you have view system information checked, the B1 usability package gives you the menu right here, copy system information. In this case, it's 1. If I click in here, copy system information, it gives me everything from this field. It's in column 1. It's item UID 38. So that's really neat. If you do queries, this is really cool because some are really long. You just copy it from here into your query. Okay, so I know the add button is 1. So I'm telling my validation, I want to work with item 1. That means when I click press that item. You see, the event is I'm pressing item 1. Okay, and the form mode, I'm going to say all form modes. It's update, find, anytime, all the form modes. It doesn't matter if it's in add mode or update mode. I leave it all because I always wanted to check it if this certain item is on the purchase order in this case. Does that make sense? This is your form type, item 1, and here I'm telling the event when I press the item, but I have to tell you what I have to tell the system what item. So it's the item 1, in this case the add button. Okay, then the before action is true, meaning I want it to check it before it adds to the system. So the after action ignore. These two should never be the same. We have lots of documentation on this. Okay, so this side is the trigger is the trigger is okay when I click the add button, which is number 1. I need a condition. What is it gonna do? What is it gonna check for me? So in my case, I have no condition. I always wanted to check it. And what I have to do in this case, I have to attach what it needs to check. So right now I'm just telling the system, okay, the validation is when I click the add button, but what is it checking? So I'm going to click here. We have all those universal functions. If you're not familiar with our solution, as I said, we have lots of videos. In today's example, we're going to work with the line loop. And the line loop is a little bit advanced. Okay, you see there's warning. It's it's very advanced, but our sample today is very simple, and I kept it very simple. So it's very easy to understand. So we're going to tell the system, first we give it a name. And we're going to call it authorization, and we call it A00004. And this is very important. When you do, when you add a universal function, always start the name out with what it is, and you will see in a minute why, because it's so much easier for you to find. Okay, So I'm going to call it line loop authorization 004. And then down here, I'm going to switch this no condition. I'm going to say it's a SQL condition. Okay, so this switches, and if you have known our system, this changed a little bit, as you can see. It got a different look, simplified. And we're going to go to the SQL condition. That's what we are going to do today. So right here, what you see here, right here, first of all, we're going to say we are checking the document lines. So make sure you choose the correct UID. Okay, if you it's in a service line, so there is different ones. Today it's document line because we're in a purchase order, it's a document, and we are checking the lines. We are saying ignore last line because, as you know, SAP always adds a last line. We're going to ignore that. We're going to ignore if there's a subtotal or a text, and we're going to freeze doing line loop. In this case, it really doesn't matter because we're going to set it up as soon as it finds a certain item, I want to break it, because then I know it needs to go through approval. Okay, so in here we're going to put our SQL condition. So in our case, it is an if statement because we are telling it, okay, if this happens, I want it to do something. So I'm just going to do if. You have if and else and other options here. So if what? So we are telling the system, I'm going back to the purchase order, and this is the nice part. I'm going to say copy if item number, that's syntax 38, if, and then what you do is you just copy it in here. Okay, if item number, let's say, equals, let's do, we said A, I think it's 4 zeros, 3, 4. Is A4, and you see how it changes the color. That's pretty neat because it kind of tells you if it's right or wrong. Then I want you to run this action. Okay, I could leave action, just take this off, or let's just say, then I want you to run, you can name this what you want. Okay, you can name it what fits you, what makes sense to you. Move this back a little bit. Okay, so here we're telling it, so if the line item has this item, what do I wanna do? So I'm going in here, and I'm gonna put Boyum in here. Very, very important. This exactly like this. If it's lowercase, it gotta be lowercase. It gotta match. Okay. And then I need to create a UF from here. So here, this UF, so I'm going to say the first pass would be, I don't need a first pass. I just wanted to check the line item. And the second pass, the line, because I'm going through the line. And what I need to do here, I need to do a macro. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do new. We're going to say new, and we're going to create a macro. So what we're going to go right here, we're going to say this is a macro. And I'm going to call it macro and call it set UDF for approval. Always be very detailed what it is. And then you can put more remarks in here. So I'm going to say set, and I'm going to insert it. So macro is, it does it automatically. If you know macro, the system is going to do for you. So I'm going to say, if, so we have the statement back there, if this item is in the lines, because it's a line loop, it goes through the lines, and now we're going to put in the line UF, we're going to put, we would like to set this user-defined field, I'm going in here, Control V, to yes. Okay, and then very important when you do macros, just explain it what it does. Set UDF to yes for approval, because item number 004. Okay, So I'm going, so set beer box to yes. I'm going to click add. Okay, so again, this is my SQL condition. Then it's going to go down here, and what needs the system to be doing if there is this item in the lines? I needed to set the user-defined field to yes. Okay, so the final results right here, I'm going to put in here also is this, because I need to say, because the final result is my item number. I'm going to copy it right from here, because it needs to look at the item number, and I missed the brackets. I should have just copied it over from how I showed it to you. See, that's such a cool tool. And the $sign. So the final results is the item number. I wanted to kick off the that macro, and then I'm gonna say right here I want it to append and break the loop, because once I have that item in my document, I want it to break the loop and it should trigger. So yes, your SQL condition, and this is your lines. It checks the lines, what it needs to be doing. It needs to set that to yes, and then break the loop. And I'm gonna click add on that. Okay, so I have it attached here. So in this case, I'm going to click add. It looks good. So now this is a validation, but I really just say if I put in some items right here, oops, so it should switch to yes. You see right here, it switched it to yes. Right here, and this is a mandatory field. And why it does something in there, let me just switch it to somebody else. Okay, so you see it switched it to yes, but it didn't kick it off for approval. Why is that? Because we haven't set up the approval yet. Okay, so it added it, but it switched to yes. So that means our condition works, our validation works. Okay, because this item is in here. So if I do another one, just to show you really quick, let me take this mandatory field off really quick. Oops. So, oh, this value is 6. Okay, this is what I need to. I have value 6 is empty. That means if I have this one user who defaults here is in there, it calls it an empty value. That's why I got that message. So let's say if I just do another item and I click add, you see it's gonna stick to no. So that means the validation works and my macro works to set it once a certain item is in the lines. Now we have to do the approval. So that's an SAP feature. You go to administration, you go to approval procedures. Okay, so here are the stages. So the stages are, that means if you're not familiar with approval, it's like who can approve certain things. For example, right here, you can have a number of approval required is 1, but one of those 2 can approve it. But a number of rejections required is 2. So if it's rejected, both have to reject it. So you have really flexibility in here to control your data. And here's the manager. I'm using manager because I'm the manager logged in, so you see everything. So this the manager. This is a stage for the manager to approve documents. Then you have to go in here to templates. And what we are going to do is we're going to call it PO and purchase order and the originator. So whoever puts the document in there. So let's say it's, I have to use myself. So if a manager puts in the document, and of course you can say, okay, if this person puts in a purchase order, so who is the originator? which documents you want to approve. We're gonna work on the purchase orders right now. Okay? And then the stages. So who is supposed to approve it? You can have more than one stage. And we're gonna do manager also. So you see it. Okay? So this is the person who puts it in. This is the documents I choose, in this case only purchase order, and this is the stage. It needs to go through this approval we just saw earlier. And then the terms, that's very important. Do you want to always approve it? Then it would always go through approval. Or do you want to, when following applies? Okay, so here you have, if you're not familiar, you have options here. For example, if the total document is if maybe a greater than, less than, and so on. So you can use that. In our case, we're working with the UDF and with the validation. So what we are going to do, we're going to do a query. Okay. And if you go in here, we have a query already here. Actually, I'm going to show it to you here. This is the query. If you go to Query Manager, this is the query. Select case. This is my approval box. Remember? BoyX. The reason it's BoyX because we moved it over with Boyum from the sidebar to the main screen. Okay? If it's yes, then that's true for approval. It needs to go. Else it's false. You got that? If you want to copy it, that's fine. This video will be posted on YouTube, so you can stop it and copy it over. So I'm taking again the purchase order, right here. If I right click right here, remember this is my BoyX_2. Item syntax. That's why select case. If this is set to yes, which our validation takes care of it, then true, go through approval, otherwise false. Okay, so actually we're going to use this one. So we click on here. Once you have your query saved up here in the query manager, you just choose it right here. There we go. So I'm going to say when it following applies, and then I attach my query, and I'm going to click add. I'm going to cancel. So now we have this purchase order here. And remember, our validation says, I want it to check all the time. Okay, if it's if it doesn't matter if it's in OK mode or whatever mode it's in. So in this one, this is already an added purchase order, but let's add the 4. And let's see if it works. I'm going to click update. There we go. Now it's going through approval. So if I go here, let's do a brand new. Doesn't matter who I use. So if I do, okay, I'm going to order this, this, and this. Choose. And I'm going to click add. And it goes. So if I do another purchase order, and you do following, and you do a couple other ones, choose, and I'm going to click add, and you see it switched to yes. And remember that before action, after action on the validation, I wanted to check before it added, and there we go. Now we can set it off to approval, and and then it comes in. As you might know, it's a draft now, then it comes in here. You get this alert, and then you can go straight from here, drill back, and here you can say, okay, approved, rejected, approved. You can also go back to the document draft, what the document looked like. You can actually look at it, okay, because of this. And you click update, and then you get it back from your approver right here. And you can add the document then. It's approved. You see the status on top, approved. And now you can add it to the system. And what's also nice is also you see the bar approved, and you know it's yes. If you go to the other one, it doesn't say approved because it didn't need to go, and the authorization says no. Okay, so that's how you can build your, with the UDF, bring it over to the main screen with the B1 usability package, create a validation and get control of your system. Are there any questions? If there are, put it in the chat or try to unmute you. I hope you enjoyed it. So I hope you got some good ideas what you can do, right? And that's what we want to do. We want you guys to have ideas what you can do with this system. Always check our websites, guys. Go to Boyum IT. We have samples out there. In the download folder, you have samples. We also have, in our website, on our community, we have samples. If you just type in sample, you find a lot of them, and it gives you ideas, and then you just move it around. Okay? Great. Thank you so much, everybody. If you have ideas for webinars, send them to me. My name is Rosie Coronado. If there's webinars you want to see, let us know. I always like the idea, like this one came from a customer, which was great, and that's exactly what we want to hear, or from a partner. Okay? Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye-bye.